Hey, chickadees. Welcome into today's episode of Mojo Mysticism. So, today we're pulling from, it's over here, Divine Abundance by Tasha Silver. Our guide said, hey, let's go to that one today. So I said, okay, because I exist in stillness and I follow my guidance. So that's why we're pulling from this deck today. So here's the thing. I feel like there's going to be 3 cards that come out again today. So we'll just see what they have for us. There is one of them. Up there's the second and the third sticking out of there. Look at that. Quick about it. All right. So let's just see what we have today. Ah. Okay. They have an important message for us today. I'm going to go through the cards first, and then we're going to tune in. I'll tie it together for you. But here's the first card that popped out. This card is acceptance. It says radical acceptance in the now opens the flow. Radical acceptance in the now opens the flow. Okay. The second card is deepening. Deepening says, once you're on earth for enough lifetimes, your old soul will begin to long for non-grasping, detachment, and surrender. They bring the peace of God. Deepening. And then the third card they gave us was loss. And loss says, sometimes you learn true offering through loss. You make a passionate invitation for love to take over and bring her own plan instead of the ego's. Loss. Okay, so what are these 3 cards telling us together? So we're going to start with the middle card. So the middle card is telling us this longing for non-attachment, detachment, and non-grasping and surrender. Listen to that longing. Let yourself detach. Okay, especially if you are an old soul. I'm there's a lot of us running around. I'll just say that. But this is calling you deeper into yourself and your own stillness and your own divine nature. Okay, this is the deepening. This is internal. And then there's the acceptance card, which was the first card we got. That card is asking us to radically accept everything that is occurring in our life and every aspect of who we are. Both. Okay. And it said radical acceptance in the now. That is right now. That is whatever is happening in your life right now. Radically accept all of it, everything external to you, and everything internal. All of it. So if you're angry, accept it. Right? If you've been hurt or harmed by someone else, radically accept that. It does not mean that we are approving it. Okay? This does not mean we approve of the things that happen to us outside of us. So please don't misconstrue these. But we are accepting that is true for us, that event or whatever it is occurred. And we are accepting that it occurred. Why? Why do we radically accept everything about ourselves and everything about what's going on around us? Because we take personal responsibility and because it is the stepping stone to transformation. Okay, we've talked a little bit on this channel in the last few days about how, excuse me, if you are aware of something, you are no longer subject to that thing that you're aware of. So let's just say I'm aware that I bite my nails, right? Or let's just say I've been a nail biter my entire life. And all of a sudden I'm aware that I'm biting my nails. I'm no longer the victim of biting my nails. I am aware. Okay, so I have space to make a choice. I can choose to continue to bite my nails, and that is a perfectly acceptable choice. I can choose not to bite my nails, also a perfectly acceptable choice. The difference being you are no longer unconscious about what you're doing. You are aware of what you're doing. And the lamas that I studied with when I was in Tibetan Buddhism, one of them he said, always know what you are doing. No judgment, just know, just be aware. That is radical acceptance. Okay? So, radical acceptance, deepening our own understanding of what is going on in our life and detaching and moving to a state of non-grasping, allow that pull to take you to that place where you detach and are no longer grasping and where you surrender. And then the third card, loss. This learning, let's see, it says sometimes you learn true offering through loss. And that is true. That is true. Loss strips us to our core, especially if it's a significant loss, right? Sometimes if I just lose my keys, I can be stripped to my core too. It can happen. But big, significant loss strips you bare. It exposes who you really are. And here's the thing. This loss is saying you can make the passionate invitation and allow love to take over. I know that both when I lost I didn't lose them. It's not like they left. Well, they did leave. They exited. But when my dad exited this three-dimensional life, I felt raw, emotionally vulnerable, and I felt emotions at a depth I had never felt them before. And then the same thing happened when my mom passed and exited. Although it was different. It was different. They were about 15, 18 years apart in their exits. And I was vastly different. So when my father exited, it was, there was a lot of unresolved challenges and issues around that relationship that I have with my dad that now have been resolved. So that kind of deepened it and gave a different dimension to it. Those will be in shift. And then when my mother passed, the situation was not anywhere near as complicated, but also I had done so much internal work that when she passed, there was also not just grief and loss, but there was also a deep, deep knowing that she's actually able to be closer to me now than she was when she was in physical form. So, but the loss is still there. I still felt the emotions. I still, like, you just can go so much. You're so tender. That's what I mean to say. You're tender, right? So, what are these cards telling us together? That acceptance, radically accepting what is happening, understanding that loss that is either happening or has happened in your life or is about to happen is perfect, and you can radically accept that loss for what it is. Doesn't mean you agree with it, but you can accept it so that you can deepen your letting go of attachment. You can deepen your sense of detachment from all of it and learn to let love move you through the process, as painful as it is. Okay. All right, chickadees. So that's the message today. Radical acceptance. Deepen your detachment. What's going through my head from the guys is like a scavenger hunt to find where you're attached to things. Like, I'm thinking about like deep Swedish death cleaning my house and like looking at all the little nooks and crannies to find the areas where I'm attached and then detach from them. That's what's coming up for me with that deepening card. And then loss. So attachment and deepening is preparing us to move through the loss that we're either in or is coming. So that's the message today, chickadees. I hope you have a fabulous day. Thank you so much for being part of our community. I appreciate you very much. Have a fabulous day. I love you, and we will see you here tomorrow. Mwah.